キャストで知るか。新たな恐怖が始まった。Biohazard CODE Veronica.
A new horror began 20 years ago when Resident Evil Code Veronica was released on the Sega Dreamcast, and while reading about it on the excellent RE Wiki, I found a mystery that I couldn't resist. An incomplete list of 22 secret features from the Japanese strategy guide. An invincible zombie? Dreamcast exclusive face graphics? So to finally get a good night's sleep, I bought a copy of the guide and I'll share all the cool things I found, like how Claire actually attacks slower than Chris and Steve? And stick around as I translate short stories that expand upon the RE lore, as well as my thoughts on the game 20 years later. Here we go. Of the 22 secret features, some are well known, others were completely new to me, and a few were downright bizarre. So I'll quickly run through all of them. Number 1. Getting an S rank with all characters in battle mode will unlock the linear launcher. Here are the time requirements. Regions other than Japan only have A rank. You won't be graded if you use the linear launcher. Number 2. Getting an S rank or A rank in the main game unlocks the unlimited rocket launcher. And of course there are in-depth guides online. It's the ultimate weapon, as long as the enemy isn't crawling. Number 3. Differences between Code Veronica, released in 2000, and 2001's Code Veronica X. The biggest additions are 3 cutscenes involving Wesker.
Greetings.
An encounter with Claire, which is the first time they ever meet.
Who are you?
A final showdown with Chris. And an improved fight between Wesker and Alexia. The original version is pretty funny in comparison, as Wesker shows up with superhuman powers to fight Alexia, only to see her power level is over 9,000.
Whoa, what power?
And he quietly leaves through the front door. The new version has an appropriate battle.
Now this is my kind of weapon.
The next big change is Steve's hairstyle. Interestingly, Steve's hair was blonde in the beta. You can see Monster Steve had blonde hair in early concept art too.
Up there.
People say the change was to avoid comparisons to Leonardo DiCaprio. If anyone has a source for this, please share it.
All right.
The intro was changed along with the ending theme. The original ending sounds so dated and out of place. The new one is much more fitting. Chris's expression was changed to look less angry during the conclusion. There are small changes too, like some items made more visible, and Code Veronica X has more ammo. And some character profile icons are different too, which Steve is really happy about. Wesker's clear screen for battle mode is different too. Number 4. Dreamcast and PS2 differences of Code Veronica X. Sadly, Code Veronica X on Dreamcast was only released in Japan, but there is a fan translation available. And if you didn't know, you can only use a VMU on a Dreamcast. The Dreamcast version is on 2 discs versus a single disc on the PS2. The Code Veronica file was also made easier to find. Number 5. Search for the mysterious D.I.J. D.I.J. is the author of a journal found in battle mode that witnesses key scenes with Claire. It turns out that D.I.J. is a hyper-intelligent rat who kept running into Claire.
Stay there.
It's a pretty funny way to troll players because you have a 20% chance to get this diary written by a rat instead of an 80% chance to get the powerful Magnum, leaving Wesker to fight the one-hit kill Alexia with just the knife. The book states the meaning of D.I.J. isn't clear, but it likely stands for dumb inside joke. But again, source please. Number 6. Contextual events. Meeting certain conditions like number of kills or doing something within a time limit will change certain scenes. For example, How long you take saving Steve from the gas chamber will change his reactions when he's free.
That was too close. But I found something, thanks to you. Looks cool, huh?
Oh, I need those. Give them to me.
You gotta be kidding. Thought I wouldn't make it.
Oh, I need those. Give them to me.
You gotta be kidding. I made it. That was too close. What took you so long?
Oh, I need those. Give them to me.
Fine. But let's make a deal.
Steve's comments to Claire will change depending on how many zombies you kill.
Check it out! I pulled through without a scratch. I even saved ammo for future use. Come on! I would have killed more, but I thought that you needed a workout. They weren't even worth wasting the ammo needed to kill them. I've been waiting for you, milady. Hey, Claire! I managed to clear a path for you. It should be safe now. Well, what do you think of my work? It was dirty work, but this area is now clean. See? You can depend on me.
Picking up the Navy proof last will add additional dialogue.
The self-destruct system
What?
has been
Alfred's insane.
activated.
He's trying to blow
All
this entire
personnel
place up.
Evacuate immediately.
The coolest addition is killing Nosferatu with a knife or sniper rifle will give you a special death scene.
I've got you now. I've got you now.
And finally, if you fight Alexia before the spider boss battle, you will miss her diabolical speech.
Alexia!
That is how I dispose of insignificant bugs, said the spider to the fly. How do you wish to die?
Number 7. Emergency shutters. Activating the metal detector before the zombies break the windows will close the shutters and lock the zombies out, perhaps saving you from getting bit. Number 8. Zombies move from room to room. At certain locations, some zombies will move to an adjacent room. This is most noticeably the sword zombie, who follows you just trying to give you your sword back, man. Number 9. The extravagant turn. This kanji can be translated as splendid, extravagant, or exuberant, so I was really excited to find out what this secret was. Walk into this event scene backwards and you'll be treated to this extravagant turn. I tried doing it unarmed and it looks splendid. Here it is in Code Veronica HD Remaster's exuberant glory. So they definitely didn't oversell it. Number 10. Steve gets shut out. Revisiting Claire when playing as Steve and she'll turn him back with some harsh words.
You're not done yet. What's wrong? Cold feet? Do you want me to take care of this for you, little boy?
Number 11. By pressing up against the bars here, Claire won't be crushed by the falling stone. I guess you could say she was almost a Claire sandwich. Number 12. There are certain items that you cannot pick up while running, such as the Clemente. The other items are some bowgun rounds and a file. You must stop running before you can pick them up. Number 13. The SMG and assault rifle will fire continuously if you hold the attack button. However, according to the book, they'll actually fire faster by rapidly pressing the button. Personally, I couldn't find much of a difference. Number 14. Unplugging the controller will pause the game, but it doesn't stop the game clock, so it won't help your speedrun on a Dreamcast. Number 15. The invincible zombie. Okay, here we go. When you return to the starting area with the fire extinguisher, there will be a zombie munching on a corpse. This is the invincible zombie, but he's also the oblivious zombie. You can't hurt him, and he won't bother you, until you change the camera angle. So yes, there is an invincible zombie, but unfortunately, it's just this. Number 16. Wesker's sunglasses. Wesker loses his sunglasses in the main game, but in the battle mode, he'll be wearing them. When encountering Alexia in the battle mode, the same cutscene from the main game will play, but this time with sunglasses on. Number 17. The computer terminals show the actual time set to your system's clock. Not listed in the book is the better secret of the cameo by Jill and other RE characters. Number 18. Escaping Monster Steve. Escaping Steve for first-time players can be a real shock and lead to sudden deaths or feeling stuck if you don't have enough healing items. There are a few well-known ways to escape without taking damage, like this. The guide lays out a method to escape Steve by dodging through his attacks. You can do this by attacking with the right timing. After many deaths, this was my best run, and I still got hit. But it proves that yes, you can dodge Monster Steve by attacking. It's not the best or easiest way, but it's pretty cool to face down an axe-wielding Leonardo DiCaprio monster with a knife. Number 19. This is just a chart that shows the spawn rates for the one random item you get inside the slot machine in battle mode. Number 20. Secret battle game poses. Each character has a secret animation in battle mode that can be triggered under different conditions. Number 21. Dreamcast only face graphics. And it's just VMU pictures, not in-game character models.
What? No!
Wait a second. What just happened?
On a side note, I do love how the VMU shows your health. And number 22 is a list where you can find all the Doki Doki Heartbeat scene transitions. These always did ratchet up the tension when I was a kid. With those mysteries solved, let's look at some other interesting things in this guide. The Bandersnatch monsters are prototypes based on the Tyrant from RE1, intended for mass production and practicality. As a result, they don't have the same strength. They were brought to the island for actual combat data collection and battle training. The dogs in Code Veronica are called zombie dogs, unlike those from RE1, which were called Cerberus. The difference is, Cerberus were intentionally created weapons, where zombie dogs were created by accident when they ate infected food. Inversely, the gravedigger worms from RE3 were created accidentally when the T-virus seeped into the soil. The Gulp worm from Code Veronica was created through gene modification and injecting the T-virus. The DNA used to create Alexia was retrieved from the mummified corpse of Veronica, the Ashford family progenitor, as she was enshrined in the Ashford family basement. Another level of creepy for the Ashfords. As I mentioned earlier, Claire attacks slower than all the other characters. The red numbers here are Claire's. Chris, Wesker, and Steve are all 1 frame faster, but it depends on the weapon. Like Chris is 7 frames faster with the bowgun, and has 2 extra frames of damage with the knife. I can understand since Chris is a highly trained STARS member, but Steve? How is Claire, who survived Raccoon City and did this, not faster than Steve? The Lugers also became my favorite weapon since I found out by aiming up with the right timing, you can pop zombies' heads like bubble wrap. The concept art by freelance designer Satoshi Nakai reveals some interesting changes too. For one, Claire was shown in pink jeans, which even made it into early builds of the game. There was also a build with Claire's RE2 clothes. Chris went sleeveless to look more wild or cool, but that's nothing compared to the next time we see him. The name of Wesker's team was also revealed as Hive or Host Capture Force, but the guide only said he worked for a rival pharmaceutical company. There was also an unused character from the unfortunately named Alfred Security Service, or the better, USM for Umbrella Security Manager. Alfred was originally named Hilbert, and Alexia was named Hilda. I guess they liked the name because Hilda returns in Darkside Chronicles. Seeing how Darkside Chronicles is a retelling of Code Veronica, this could be a nod to the concept, but I'm just speculating. The Ashford family was originally named Kruger, and there's this theory that the Ashfords were Nazis. This idea came from their names, the appearance of German weapons, their obsession with genetics, and the overall aesthetic from the original scenario. However, in an interview with Nakai, he said it was actually his own proposal to make them escaped Nazis, but the idea was rejected, so take that as you will. He also mentioned a new character that would have been a former Nazi soldier and the family's butler. An early concept for Steve was released on the internet too.
What was that?
Speaking of Steve, there are 6 original stories that give details on the events of Code Veronica and its colorful cast of characters. While the book was approved by Capcom, it's debatable what is considered canon. I'm just here to share what I've found. Personally, I like what it adds. Now, let's get this out of the way. Steve is a character who speaks in all caps.
Oh yeah, that felt good!
He's gotta be one of the most hated RE characters because he comes off as a whiny brat who wastes ammo. He does weird things like trying to kiss a sleeping Claire. It's hard to watch, and adding the music doesn't make this scene romantic. But now I see he's got a proper character arc, and maybe he's annoying by design. Your first impression should be that he's cocky, arrogant, and selfish. As the game unfolds, you find out he's obviously a young kid that suffered severe trauma. He only cares about himself at first. Early on, he jokes that he's Claire's knight in shining armor. Even Alfred says it too.
You wish. But thanks for the help.
After hesitation to confront his zombie father almost causes Claire's death, Steve starts to act more seriously. He dedicates himself and vows to protect her. He does screw up, but Claire still supports him. With his final act, he fulfills his vow and saves Claire's life. While the whole white knight trope is dated, it does show Steve's growth from selfish to selfless. So what exactly made Steve this way? Steve's story says that his father was just a regular Umbrella employee, not connected to the weapons program. One day, he happened to see some weapon designs and decided to sell them to a rival company. Ada, he was not, and having no connections, he was quickly found out by Umbrella and went into hiding without telling his family anything that happened. Unable to locate him, Umbrella went to Steve and his mother. Only needing one person for information, the Umbrella agents killed Steve's mother right in front of his eyes. Steve was completely in the dark about his father's actions and felt so much anger and betrayal. His father was eventually captured and Steve was no longer needed. I guess you could say mercifully he was taken to Rockfort prison to keep him quiet. Steve had lost everything, his family, his freedom, and trust in humanity.
You'll just end up disappointed if you rely on others. Believe me, I know!
After escaping, Steve didn't want to find his father. He wished that his father was killed instead of his mom. Despite these feelings, when confronting his father, Steve froze, because deep down, he still loved him. Steve was actually angry that Chris was coming to rescue Claire because he thought that it should be his job. And he was jealous that Claire had a family member that cared so much for her, and he didn't.
Let's go.
A question I had is, how did Steve regain his senses after transforming into a monster? Well, it was Alexia's tentacles that grabbed Claire. Seeing Claire in agony woke up feelings within him. His instinct to protect her allowed him to regain control. It stated that, had she not been bound, Steve would have killed her. Watching Steve's transformation to a monster now is more disturbing than I remember. This is a teenager being ripped apart from the inside with a look of terror on his face. And Steve did have his badass moments too. The book says Steve was a good kid at heart, but with his mother killed in front of him and everything taken away, well, it's easy to forget he's only 17 years old. He was just looking for someone to care for him, and while Claire was clearly capable of defending herself, it's nice to see Steve's progression from selfish to selfless. Or, let me know how wrong I am and that Steve is actually the worst.
Okay.
The other interesting details are about Alfred and Alexia. Alfred steals every scene he's in with his gaudy style, but the book does an excellent job of painting him as a psychopath. He delights in torturing others as a way to prove himself genetically superior. Visiting the torture chamber, you can see a chair and a bottle of wine, where I envision Alfred relaxing for an evening of agony. He doesn't like being under Umbrella's command, but he likes his job thanks to the access it gives him to victims.
I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Oh? You must be one of Umbrella's lower level officers if you're in command of a backwater base like this one.
How dare you!
He feels he is above everyone, except Alexia, and that anyone else is a bug to be stepped on. However, he wasn't always like that. Before Alexia was frozen, he maintained his sanity, but losing her was too much for him. He took on the personality of Alexia and was truly shocked when he sees himself as Alfred. He worshipped Alexia, but she was disturbed by his psychotic tendencies. She referred to him as her loyal but incompetent soldier ant, which gives you an idea of the unequal relationship. As it's written, she infected Steve with the virus not for biological research, but to inflict pain and suffering on Claire and Steve like they did to Alfred. The twins hated their father, Alexander, seeing him as a failure. The book describes Alexander waking up after being drugged, with the twins getting ready to infect their father with the virus. Seeing the terrified look on his face, the twins looked into each other's eyes and laughed with satisfaction.
Chris Redfield.
Chris's story does inject some character into him beyond cool haircut. He's a trained pilot, which might explain why he knows how to fly the notoriously complex Harrier, and after leaving the Air Force, or should I say after being kicked out, he joined STARS and excelled as a sniper. He felt it was his duty to remember everyone he's killed, and eventually, he decided he didn't want to kill anyone. Chris believes that anyone can be redeemed, so killing them isn't the solution. However, after Wesker's betrayal, he believes there is no redemption for him. At all times, Chris doesn't want to disappoint Claire.
Just like a big brother, huh? You're always looking out for your little sister.
Which is a great way to contrast these genetically inferior siblings to the Ashfords.
It's Alexia!
Alexia? There really is an Alexia?
It is almost time, you genetically inferior siblings.
After her! She might know where Steve is.
Let's go.
Replaying Code Veronica for the first time in almost a decade reminded me how polarizing it is, from the bombastic intro to the cartoonish villains and Steve's first impression. It's understandable to criticize Code Veronica for its anime tropes and melodrama. It's hammy and cheesy, but sometimes that's the sandwich you want. As the RE series' first step outside of Raccoon City, and first time fully 3D, Code Veronica's gameplay is still satisfying to me 20 years later. Given the difficulty and pitfalls for first-time players, it's not a good place to jump into the series. but it should be experienced by any survival horror fan. There's no shortage of personality, and the characters are unforgettable. While the cutscenes are full of artifacting, and some of the story beats and dialogue could use an update, I was happy to see my love for this game wasn't just nostalgia. There are so many things I didn't have time to talk about too, like the changes Darkside Chronicles made. So thanks for watching this long, and as a reward, enjoy this ham.
Ha